Hey everybody, my name's Eric Yazel. I'm the Clark County Health Officer. What that means is it's my job to keep you healthy and safe, and I'm really excited you invited me to read Chapter 4 of Lily to the Rescue. So let's get started. With every hop, the crow flapped one wing, but the other one remained completely still, hanging by its side. The crow took another hop, and another, and then suddenly the crow jumped up and landed right on my back. Well, this certainly was a strange day. I had never seen a chipmunk feed a crow before. I had never seen a flock of crows save a chipmunk from a hawk before. I had never been left alone in the dog park before. And now I had a crow on my back, something else that had never happened before. When a crow is on a dog's back, the dog cannot easily fall asleep. However, the sun was warm and I felt myself getting drowsy. Would Maggie Rose mind if I took a little nap while I was waiting for her? My eyes must have shut, but they snapped open when I smelled something familiar. It was Maggie Rose. And it was the smell of Mom and Dad, too. They must have entered the dog park and were probably coming towards me because the scent was getting stronger. I wagged, aware that I still had a crow on my back, and I couldn't stand up to turn to face my human family. I hoped they would not think I was being a bad dog. That would certainly be a little embarrassing. "Good dog, Lily," I heard Maggie Rose call. That made it all right. At the sound of my girl's voice, the crow jumped off my back and hopped back over to the fence where it felt safe. Since I was back to being a regular dog and no longer a crowbed, I stood up, shook, and ran over to my girl, Mom, and Dad. Dad was carrying something that looked like a big handful of thin cloth. "It does look like a broken wing," he said. "We'll have to take him in and see if he can be saved." "If he can be saved," Maggie Rose repeated. "What do you mean, if?" I looked at her in concern. She sounded shocked. "Well," Dad replied, "when a wild bird breaks its wing, it can be hard to repair. And this is a young crow, and crows are very social birds. I worry about keeping him at the shelter while he heals." "Well, what does it mean if we can't help him?" Maggie Rose wanted to know. Dad was quiet for a moment. "Maggie Rose, we'll do what we can. But a bird with a broken wing can't survive in the wild. We'd have to keep him in a cage. I don't think he would be happy." "But Dad," Maggie Rose cried, "then we have to save him. He and Lily are friends. He was standing on Lily's back." "Well," Dad said, "we'll have to catch him first." I watched as Dad shook out the cloth in his hand. It turned out to be a big square made of thin threads, all connected to each other, so it looked a little bit like a spider web. What was this game? I wagged, ready to tug at one end of the cloth if that's what we were doing. But then Mom spoke, surprising me. "No, Lily," she said, "stay here with us." I knew the word no, but I'd never really liked it. But when Maggie Rose told me to sit, I obeyed her. Dad walked very slowly towards the crow with the damaged wing. I could sense Maggie Rose's heart beating in her chest, and she seemed afraid. I nosed her hands so that she would know whatever was going on, her favorite dog in the world, was right here, so it couldn't be that bad. The crow was watching Dad even more closely than I was. The bird was back to twisting his way one way, then the other. In a sudden move, Dad raised his arms and flung the cloth through the air. The crow tried to take flight, but I guess it forgot it was hurt. It didn't even lift up off the ground. Then the cloth landed on the crow, who flapped and fluttered, while Dad stepped forward and grabbed the cloth and cinched it shut. The crow squawked then, and I was sad because the squawk sounded so sad. Clearly, the crow thought something really bad was happening. I stopped doing sit and went over to sniff the cloth to try to make the crow feel better, but I could tell even that didn't help. Dad very carefully lifted the cloth, examining the crow. Mom walked over to look too. Maggie Rose, however, came to me and rubbed her open hand on my head. "You're a good dog, Lily," she said. "You kept the crow calm." I wagged at being a good dog for Maggie Rose. "What is that around the wing?" Mom asked Dad. Dad tenderly was turning the crow inside the cloth. "It looks like some sort of wire or string. It's so tight, it's cut his flesh. Can you see? I'm not sure what it is, but there are all sorts of wires and kite strings in the trees that a bird can get tangled in." "Let's get this crow back to the rescue and see what we can do for the poor thing," Mom said. When we arrived at work, Dad carried the crow into a room, and I trotted off to see several of my newest friends. There were 3 little kittens in a cage I could not reach, who were delighted to stand and stare down at me. They wanted to play, and I knew because on other days, Maggie Rose had let them out, and we'd scampered around the room with each other. But today she did not do that. Farther down the row of cages, right on the floor, there was an old dog named Brewster who thumped his tail but did not get up to greet me. Brewster was a brown, lazy dog who liked to take naps. He'd been at work longer than any of the other animals. Mom sometimes called him a senior dog, which I suppose meant the same thing as a good dog because Brewster was allowed to stay at work so long. Brewster, Mom would say, is going to be a challenge to adopt out. People want puppies more than they want senior dogs. I didn't know what she was saying, but hearing her say puppies and dogs made me happy. Brewster and I sometimes played together out in the yard, and one time we went to the dog park together. But for the most part, Brewster really liked to focus his attention on sleeping. I greeted the other dogs and adult cats in their cages, and then went to be with Maggie Rose. "Oh, Lily," Maggie Rose said, holding me tightly, "I sure hope Mom and Dad can save that poor bird." And that's the end of chapter 4. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys are enjoying some good family time, staying off the video games, getting outdoors, doing some good activities, and having a lot of fun. Everybody be safe and have a great day. Thank you.